Let's talk about a money rule that shows up again and again in East Asian families, especially in a lot of Chinese households, and why it quietly builds wealth even on average incomes. I'm not talking about some government program or fancy investment product. I'm talking about the kind of rule your parents or grandparents repeat so often it becomes background noise. It's simple, it's strict, and it forces saving before lifestyle. For this video, we're going to call it the Chinese 3331 rule, because that's the easiest way to remember it in English. 30% for living, 30% for future growth, 30% for obligations and family, and 10% for opportunity or protection. You might see different versions of it in real life. Sometimes it's 50, 30, 20, sometimes it's 30, 30, 20, 20. But the spirit is the same. Live on less than you can, save and invest automatically, honor your family responsibilities, and keep a little ready to move fast. If you follow that long enough, you don't just have savings. You have options. I want to make one thing clear up front. Cultures are not monoliths. Not every person in China or in a Chinese family follows this. Not every immigrant family does this. But the pattern is very common. Spend less, save more, invest early, think about parents and kids, and don't let lifestyle outrun income. That mindset is why a lot of ordinary people in those communities end up owning property or running businesses, even when their paychecks weren't crazy. It's not luck. It's a system. And we can copy the system without pretending to be the culture. So what is this 3331 way of thinking? Let's break it into plain English. The first 30% is for living. Food, transport, housing. If you can keep it that low, phone, basic life. The whole point is keep lifestyle lean. Not miserable, just lean. If your take-home pay is, say, $4,000 a month, 30% is $200. A lot of you are thinking, no way, my rent is already $1,400. And that is exactly why this rule creates wealth. It starts from the assumption that lifestyle must fit money, not the other way around. In a lot of Western households, we start from lifestyle and try to squeeze savings in later. In a lot of Chinese households, it's the opposite. Savings are non-negotiable, lifestyle is adjustable. The second 30% is for future growth. This is the part most people never get to because they spend too much on living. This second 30 is where investing, business capital, retirement accounts, and education for advancement lie. If you make $4,000 and you're putting $1,200 a month toward growth, that is $14,400 a year. Do that for 10 years, and you have $144,000 before market growth. Add investing returns, and you are into the 200s. On a totally normal income. That is how you see aunties and uncles who never made a lot, but suddenly have a paid-off apartment and money to help grandkids. It wasn't magic. It was growth bucket first. The third 30% is for obligations and family. This is a piece that shows up in a lot of Asian money systems and is sometimes missing in Western budgeting. Money isn't just for you. It's for parents, kids, weddings, gifts, Lunar New Year, helping a sibling, supporting a business. If you don't plan for that, it wrecks your savings. So they plan for it. They make family support its own bucket. If you make $4,000, that's another $1,200. In some households, that covers remittances back home, parents' medicine, helping pay for a younger sibling's school, or just big cultural holidays. The point is, it's not extra, it's built into the model. The last 10% is for opportunity or protection. Sometimes it's an emergency fund, sometimes it's literally cash in an envelope, sometimes it's, we are going to jump on this deal. In a lot of Chinese families, there is this reflex of, be ready to move. Someone is selling a piece of equipment, a friend is opening a small shop, there is a good down payment opportunity, or somebody in the family needs bailing out. Western personal finance calls this opportunity fund or emergency fund. Their version is just older and more flexible. Now, obviously, the percentages can move. If your rent is high, your living bucket might be 40%. If you don't have family obligations, your family bucket might be 10%. If you have no kids yet, you might do 40 for living, 40 for growth, 10 for family, 10 for opportunity. The exact numbers are not the magic. The magic is the order. Live on less. Save and invest big. Remember family. Keep flexibility. Let's walk through an example with real numbers so you can hear why this works. Let's say we have May and Daniel. They live in a mid-sized North American city. After tax, together they bring in $5,000 a month. Not crazy rich. Just a solid household. If they did what everyone else does, they would spend $3,800 to $4,200 of it on rent, food, cars, subscriptions, takeout, Amazon, and then wonder why they can't get ahead. Instead, they say, okay, 30% for living, $1,500. That means cheap apartment, or roommates, or house hack, or living a bit further away, or one car, or public transit. It hurts a bit. The reward is the second 30. They now have $1,500 every single month to pump into their future. Some of that goes into employer-matched retirement accounts. Some of that goes into a broad market ETF. Some of that goes into a future house deposit account. Some of it goes into skills, English classes, certifications, licenses, truck training, whatever moves income up. Their family bucket is another $1,500. Maybe $500 goes to parents overseas, $300 to help a relative, $200 for holidays, $200 for kids' activities, $300 sits in a sub-account for annual travel. And $500 is their flexible 10. That sounds tight, but watch what happens in 2 years. They will have put $36,000 into growth. Add a bit of market growth and they are staring at $40K. That is a real down payment. Or it is the core of an emergency fund. Or it is seed money for a small business. They are not waiting for an inheritance. They built their own. The big question people ask at this point is, okay, but what if I can't do 30% for growth? My rent is too high. Fair point. Then do the hierarchy, not the number. The hierarchy is 1. Survival, 2. Growth, 3. Family, 4. Opportunity. Survival first. Growth second. Family third. Opportunity fourth. What most people do is survival first, lifestyle expansion second, family third, and growth never. That's why nothing compounds. If all you can do right now is 60% survival, 20% growth, 10% family, 10% opportunity, do that. Then, when you get a raise or a roommate or move, push survival down and growth up. The rule isn't be perfect. The rule is growth is a bill. Here's another important part of this Chinese-style money thinking: multi-generational logic. A lot of Western money advice is I, me, my dreams. A lot of Chinese money advice is we, us, the family line. That changes how you spend. You don't buy a brand new car if it means you can't help your parents when they are old. You don't buy a bigger apartment if it means you can't save for your kids' school. You don't travel every month if it means you can't build a deposit to buy property. You are always thinking, how does this help the family stay stable? You might not want to live like that forever, but stealing the discipline part is powerful. Because if you live like that for 10 years, you will have assets. And once you have assets, you can relax a little. Let's talk about why this rule builds wealth so fast on a 15 to 20 year horizon. It does 3 things at once. First, it creates a high savings rate. 30% to growth is a much higher savings rate than the usual Western advice of 10%. If you're investing 30% of your income for 15 years, you're going to end up with a 6-figure portfolio even on a normal income. Second, it forces you to keep lifestyle below income, which gives you resilience. If something happens, you can cut gifts and opportunity, and even some growth, but you can still live. Third, it bakes in family costs, so they don't destroy your plan. A lot of people who support parents or send money home feel like they can't save because family keeps happening. The Chinese approach is, family will always happen, so plan for it. Now let's make this practical for you. Step 1. Calculate your real after-tax income. Monthly. Not what you wish it was. What actually hits your account. Step 2. Look at your last 3 months and total what you spent on living. rent or mortgage, utilities, food, transport, phone, basic stuff. Divide that by your monthly income. That's your current survival percent. If that number is 40 or 45 or 55%, that's your reality. Don't shame it. Just write it down. Step 3. Pick the version of the rule you can actually do right now. Maybe it's 40 for living, 30 for growth, 20 for family, 10 for opportunity. Maybe it's 35, 30, 25, 10. The important thing is that growth is at least 20 to 30%. Step 4. Automate the growth bucket. If you try to remember to save, you will not. Chinese aunties don't rely on remembering. They just move the money. So set an automatic transfer on payday to your investment account or savings. Step 5. Build sub-buckets for the family Fiereti. One for parents, one for kids, one for holidays or red envelope type giving. That way, when it's time to give, you don't feel broke. Step 6. Keep the 10% cash-like. High-yield savings, short-term, easy to reach. This is your be ready money. Let's talk quickly about property, because this is another place where Chinese money habits show up. A lot of families in China, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Chinese immigrant families abroad put a very high priority on owning a home or owning a rental. That's because property is seen as real, visible, and hard to blow. If you run a 3-3-3-1 rule for 5 to 7 years, you will probably have enough for a down payment, especially if 2 adults are earning. That allows you to lock in housing costs, or to buy a place and rent out a room, or to help your kid later. Again, not magic. Just high savings rate plus discipline. There's also a mindset piece that I love from this system. Don't let money sit lazy. The second 30% is not just savings, it is growth. That means investing. That might be index funds, might be retirement accounts, might be a small business, might be inventory if you run a shop. The difference between I save 30% and I invest 30% over 15 years is huge. If you save 30% and leave it in cash, inflation will eat some of it. If you invest 30% at, say, 6 to 7% average return, your money will be doing work while you sleep. That's what creates the older relative who never had a crazy job, but now has 3 apartments. Okay, but what if you're listening to this and thinking, this sounds strict, I still want to enjoy life? That's fair. Here's how to make it livable. First, run it for a season, not forever. Tell yourself, I'm going to run the strict 3-3-3-1 for 12 months to build my base. After 12 months, loosen the living bucket to 40 if you want. Second, use the family bucket creatively. If you don't currently send money to parents, use that bucket for your future kids, or for a wedding fund, or for travel to see family. Third, celebrate wins from the growth bucket. When you hit 10,000 invested, celebrate. When you hit 25,000, celebrate. You are doing what most people refuse to do. You are putting future first. Let me show you how fast this can compound. Take someone earning 4,000 after tax, 30% to growth is 1,200. At 7% annual return, invested monthly, after 10 years they have around $200,000. After 15 years they are around 380,000. After 20 years they are well over 650,000. That is on 4,000 take-home. If your household take-home is 6,000 and you still keep growth at 30%, now you're investing 1,800 a month. The numbers get big faster. That's why this rule is so powerful for immigrant households with 2 earners. They don't outsmart the market. They just jam money into it consistently and don't let lifestyle bloat eat it. There is one more thing I want to steal from this Chinese money rule, and it is this: money is a team sport. In a lot of those families, everyone knows the plan. Mom knows. Dad knows. Grandma knows. Kids know. Nobody is secretly blowing the growth bucket on toys. In Western households, we often hide money habits from each other. That makes saving harder. If you want to copy this rule, tell the house. We are doing 30 for living, 30 for growth, 30 for family, 10 for opportunity. This is why we are not moving to the bigger apartment yet. This is why we don't have 2-car payments. This is why we can help grandma. When people understand the rule, they can cooperate with it. So, to wrap this up in one breath for your voiceover, live on less than you can. Make saving and investing the second bucket, not the last one. Plan for family so it doesn't wreck your finances, and keep a little ready to move. That's the Chinese-style money rule that quietly builds wealth. It's not sexy. It's not crypto. It's not make 50K a month from your phone. It's discipline, order, and time. If you run it for 10 to 20 years, you will not be the person saying, "I don't know where my money goes." You will be the person saying, "We can help, we can invest, we can buy, we can chill." This is Compound State. We copy what works. We drop what doesn't. We build wealth on purpose.